Massive fraud scandals have been rocking Minnesota for months now, really years. It's just now we know all about them. And fresh scrutiny is happening on one of the state's biggest political names while all that fraud is going on. Far-left Democrat Ilhan Omar is facing a House investigation involving her and her husband. You see, their financial fortunes have exploded in the last few years. Disclosures about Tim Mynette's wine business have jumped from just $51,000 to nearly $30 million a year. That wine must be delicious. That's a stunning rise. And you know what else is rising? Eyebrows. Especially given Omar and her allies' long history of railing against wealth, profit, capitalism.
We need to make sure that we're holding special interests accountable, that we're getting money out of politics, that we are taxing the uber rich,
right.
That the 1% gets to pay their fair share.
The only people who benefit from this bill are toy spaceship billionaires like Elon Musk and Donald Trump himself.
Those kinds of spoils that they are rolling in are not earned. They aren't working for those billions of dollars. They're stealing them. They're stealing them from you.
Well, from all that, maybe Ilhan Omar is building some toy spacecraft that we don't know about. Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. Chad.
Harris, good morning. The wealth of Presley and Omar have jumped since they were elected to Congress. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer took the unique step of asking his panel to probe Omar and not the Ethics Committee.
The Ethics Committee has jurisdiction over members of Congress. The two businesses in question are owned by Ms. Omar's husband. So the Ethics Committee does not have jurisdiction over a spouse, only a member.
Omar contends she did nothing wrong, but says her rapid wealth stems from her husband. He has a consulting business which may be worth millions. Plus, the couple had an interest in a California wine operation. The wealth of congressional spouses is complicated, especially if they are responsible for most of the income.
Sometimes there's income that they're bringing in where there are questions as to whether the way that income is made may conflict with the day-to-day job duties of the member of Congress.
Oversight Committee Democrats find it strange that their committee is probing Omar.
I don't think that we should be playing politics with this committee. It's unprecedented to go after another member. There's a procedure. There's a House Ethics Committee. We've never done that with members. There's a different procedure for House Ethics, which we have. So I don't know why we're trying to politicize the committee.
Now, on the wine operation, one label was called Blockchain. It was described as featuring aromas of blackberry and baking spices. The sales pitch said you would not want to trade it even on the dark web. It sold for $7, Harris.
You'd have to sell a lot of bottles to get to millions. Interesting. Chad, thank you. And focus now. Kaylee McGee-White, a Fox News contributor. Look, there's a whole lot of money on Capitol Hill, both sides of the aisle. And you could say that you want to follow all the money trail. Look at the Shush Fund years ago, where women were being quieted for some of the discrimination that was going on the Hill. So we get that. This is a very specific case. Why is that?
Yeah, I was doing a bit of research into Tim Mynette, Ilhan Omar's husband's various businesses, and his investment firm, it has no known clients, no known investment deals. It doesn't even have an active SEC registration. And his winery, which is also purportedly making him millions of dollars per year, has no online presence. It has no marketable products available for purchase online. And get this, back in 2024, an investor into that winery actually sued Mynette and his business partners, alleging that they had fraudulently misrepresented the winery as a legitimate business operation. So yeah, maybe there's a version of events here in which, of course, all of this is conveniently timed with his wife's election to Congress and her growing considerable influence in the Democratic Party. And maybe there is a version of events in which Ilhan Omar and her husband have just been extremely fortunate. But in that case, you would think that Ilhan Omar might be a bit more appreciative for this country and the ways in which it's aided her success. But I look at these events and I think they have cracked fact, the Hunter Biden playbook. And I think that there are many other people in Washington, D.C. who watched the success of the influence peddling scheme that the Biden family ran. And more importantly, they saw that the Biden family faced zero consequences for that scheme. And they decided to try and replicate the results themselves. So I do hope that James Comer is successful at cracking what is actually going on here, because I think that she's probably not the only one in Washington with some considerable wealth to answer for.
Look, that's exactly where I started. There's a whole lot of money on Capitol Hill, and I just wondered why this particular case. It's also probably the timing of the fraud to the billions that's now been uncovered in her state. So it's a complicated issue at best, and she has some apparent in a House committee explaining to do. Speaking of millions, I want to talk about people, not money. Millions of Americans chose faith, family, and freedom during Super Bowl halftime. Turning Point USA hosted the first ever halftime show headlined by Kid Rock. It racked up 5 million views on YouTube alone, 26 million total views across several platforms. Now, the show also included this tribute to late Turning Point founder Charlie Kirk.
I want to honor God in all that I do. My wife, my kids, my relationship with God, top 3 things. And the more often that you choose the deep, the difficult, but the right path over the easy path is one that will reward you, your family, and this beautiful nation.
Turning Point USA spokesperson Andrew Clovet says this was just the beginning.
We're going to do another halftime show for the country next year at 20 million at very minimum. I think that number is going to go higher, 40, maybe even 50 in the next 24 hours. People are paying attention. And, you know, if you give us a year to plan this thing, I'm really excited to see what we can pull off. But we got to do it for the country.
You know, Kayleigh, I thought about this last night. This isn't just a Republican or a conservative thing. There are people across the spectrum who have faith and love in their hearts. To get a number that big, perhaps some of them turned away from what was going on at the halftime show during the NFL and watched some of this.
Yeah, well, and it's also the family-friendly choice to tune into Turning Point's alternative. You know, much has been made about the fact that Bad Bunny sang solely in Spanish, but the fact is, Harris, he wouldn't have been able to sing his lyrics in English because they are so profane and vulgar that the FCC would have pulled the show entirely. So this, again, was the family-friendly option. And I think that a lot of people watched Bad Bunny's performance and they saw, okay, he celebrates his heritage, he celebrates his culture, but why is everyone else in the world allowed to do that except for us? This was a uniquely American event, and we aren't allowed to celebrate our own culture, our own heritage in the 250th anniversary of our country. I think that says a lot about the NFL.
Well, Charlie Puth sang beautifully our nation's anthem, and then that gorgeous military flyover. I mean, there were a lot of moments for people to take in that were pro-American, but then what you just described was going on too.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.